world of ancient Greece, the practice of medicine was very different from how it is today. In fact, ethical standards for medical practices didn't exist during the world of ancient Greece. However, given that time period, healing practices were crucial and very important in maintaining the health for everyone. It is because of this lack of ethical guidelines in regards to medicine that medical texts and artifacts were created to address such issues and establish rules in the world of medicine. This is particularly important to the modern world, as it examines why there's a need for these ethical guidelines to exist and how that has laid the foundation of ethical standards physicians abide by today. We see evidence of the use of medical texts in ancient Greece in two examples. This first ancient medical text is known as the Hippocratic Oath, and it was written in 400 BCE, and the second text is known as On Ancient Medicine, written in 400 BCE as well. Both of these ancient texts were written by an ancient Greek physician known as Hippocrates. However, some do theorize that he did not actually write them. Hippocrates was known as the father of medicine, and he was greatly admired for his insights into medical practices and the way he approached ethical and medical practices as well. These two texts are part of a group known as the Corpus Hippocraticum, which is a group of about 60 ancient medical Greek texts from Hippocrates' early theories. In the Hippocratic Oath, it examines ethical standards and guidelines for how physicians should treat their patients. It focuses on doing no harm to patients and to uphold medicine in an ethical way with unclouded judgment. In the text called On Ancient Medicine, it talks about Hippocrates' early theories and arguments in regards to medicine. This text is one of the most compelling works of Hippocrates, and it looks to attack principles about medical practices that are drawn from natural philosophy and approach medical practices from a diverse and different approach. What can be gathered about these two texts is that in the world of ancient Greece, there is distinct evidence of addressing ethical standards and various approaches to medicine. Many of the world we live in today uses ideas from these works and have modernized them and applied them throughout medical practices into the modern world. It is important to note that without these texts, we would live in a very different world, and medicine in the world of ancient Greece has actually laid the foundation of how medicine is practiced today, and because of this, it has actually saved many lives. We can further see this idea of ancient Greece's impact on medicine in the modern world through these two artifacts. This first artifact is known as the Oxyrhynchus Papyrus. It is a fragment of the Hippocratic Oath depicting early ethical laws in regards to medicine and healing. It dates back to around 275 AD, originating from Egypt, but is currently residing in the Wellcome Institute Library in London. The second artifact are 5th century surgical tools, and their origins are unknown. However, they are currently residing in the Thessaloniki Technology Museum. For the fragment of the Hippocratic Oath, it was written in Ionic Greek by Hippocrates. This fragment of the Hippocratic Oath is an oath historically taken by healthcare professionals and physicians who swear to uphold medicine in an ethical way. In other words, this ancient Greek medical text makes physicians take an oath to uphold ethical standards and be professional in their practice of medicine. In the second artifact, it depicts the use of surgical tools that were reconstructed based on Hippocrates' theories and descriptions in his entire collection of the Corpus Hippocraticum. It is used to help treat people who have medical issues during surgery. The fact that they have been reconstructed based on Hippocrates' theories are a prime example of how his theories and ideas have impacted medical practices and medical tools used throughout history into the modern world. And even the mere presence of surgical tools in ancient Greece have shown that medicine continues to be changed and altered to keep up with the ever-changing world that we live in. Overall, the larger force and ideas at work here are that many of the ethical standards and values in medicine, and even the tools we use today in medicine, are the way they are because of medicine within the ancient Greek world. These texts and artifacts are just a few examples of an entire world of evidence that depicts how ancient Greece has impacted our world today in regards to medicine. Since the use of ethical standards and guidelines were written during a time where there were no governing laws or rules that existed, it emphasized the need for these standards. Imagine a world where medicine never evolved and there were no rules that doctors had to abide by. It is through oaths that we make doctors accountable and through tools that we give people the ability to heal. By modifying these aspects from ancient Greece and applying them today, doctors have been able to save so many lives as they make sure to conduct themselves in a professional manner and do what's best for their patient, and as they have up-to-date medical concepts and tools that allow them to save lives. Medicine in the world of ancient Greece has truly laid the foundation for our modern medical values today and has created the basis for future oaths, surgical ideas, and surgical tools today. In all, this fragment of the oath and the depiction of surgical tools, as well as both texts, are physical representations of medical values we have today that originate from ancient Greece, and as they are so important in this context, this emphasizes the need for their existence.